At first glance, Pokken Tournament may seem like a Tekken game with Pokemon in it, but it's so much more. Pokken Tournament combines the gameplay out of a 2D fighter like Tekken, the 3D gameplay of something out of the Naruto series, and adds in approachable newcomer-friendly controls to create a fun new addictive fighter for the Wii U. For anyone looking at Pokken Tournament as a fan of the Pokemon series but feeling like you've been mediocre when it comes to fighting games, have no worries, Pokken Tournament is really approachable. The game can be played with the Wii U gamepad, the Wii U Pro controller, the Wii Remote and Nunchuck, the Wii Classic controller, and the special Pokken controller. The default controls map Y to your weak attack, X to your strong attack, B to jump, and A as your Pokemon move. Usually this is a projectile specifically used by said Pokemon. For example, Thunderbolt is mapped for Pikachu and Flamethrower is set for Charizard. Pushing the L button summons your support Pokemon or your assist character, R as your block, and pushing L and R together activates your Synergy or your Mega Evolution. Mega Evolutions power up your Pokemon stats and allow you to do a special move or a Synergy burst attack by pressing L and R together again. You can activate the Mega Evolution when your Synergy gauge is full, and these become full as you collect energy orbs across the field and land hits on your opponents. Fighting game veterans will be happy to hear that you're able to remap the controls to whatever you like in the menu options, as well as get a list of all the available moves. Performing attacks and combos are actually pretty easy. A lot of the attacks are performed by simply pushing an attack button with a directional input, almost like Smash Bros.'s Smash attacks. As far as the gameplay goes, when you start a match you select the Pokemon to play as. There's a total of 16 Pokemon to choose from, 14 that are available at the start, and 2 that you have to unlock. These Pokemon also have classes. For example, Charizard is considered a power class, a Pokemon that deals a lot of heavy damage but isn't necessarily quick. Weavile on the other hand is a speed class that moves and chains combos quickly, but doesn't deal a ton of damage on a single hit. The classes consist of standard, power, speed, and technical. After choosing your Pokemon, you have to choose your support set. There's a total of 15 support sets for a total of 30 support Pokemon. Your support sets are 2 Pokemon that will act as assist characters during the match. Each support Pokemon does something differently, but usually they drop within the 3 categories of attacking your Pokemon, disrupting the game by lowering your opponent's stats, or enhancing the match by improving your own stats. Depending on the Pokemon, they may take a while to charge or they might have a quick charge. That's another stat that players need to take consideration of. For example, Reshiram can do a lot of damage but also takes a long time to charge, so the chances of using him in a set of matches is usually just about 1 try. While on the other hand, a Pokemon like Snivy deals a little bit of damage, but the recharge time is much quicker, so usually you'll be able to use a Snivy support attack maybe 3 times in a set of matches. Now moving on to the stages, they look really amazing in this game. There's a total of 19 stages and they're all beautiful, vibrant, and filled with life. Oftentimes if you pay attention to the background, you'll see some cool little Easter eggs or little nods to the Pokemon series. For example, in the full volcano stage you can actually see researchers mining the crystals in a cave, and Machoke's carrying the cargo crystals away. The Magikarp Festival stage has you play on a giant boat with fishermen catching Magikarp off the deck, and hordes of Magikarp just splashing across the stage humorously. It really just screams Pokemon. Now moving on to the game modes, you have My Town. This is where you can customize your character avatar with accessories that you can either buy with the money you earn from winning matches, or by unlocking them when you scan an amiibo in the game. You can scan up to 5 amiibo a day to unlock 5 new items. Any amiibo works, so you're not just limited to the ones that are related to Pokemon. Here you can also choose your main Pokemon partner. This is the Pokemon you use in the main story mode. And you can change this Pokemon at any time in the game as well. You can also change your advisor settings here. Here you can change Nia's outfit, the type of advice she gives you, such as synergy, pressure, support, or special specific. The Farum League acts as the game's story mode, and as the name suggests, it takes place in a new region called the Farum region. You can compete in leagues until you reach the top 8. Once you're in the top 8, you enter a tournament for that league, and you fight until you're in first place. As the champion of the league, you take on one last promotion battle that decides whether you're strong enough to continue on to the next league. This is how the story mode works and how it progresses throughout the game, and there's a total of 4 leagues to compete in. Now every time you win a match in these leagues, you earn some money that you can then exchange or purchase new accessories for your avatar. Your Pokemon also gain XP from matches like they would in an RPG Pokemon game. Now every time your Pokemon levels up, you can increase the stat category for your Pokemon, such as their attack, the defense, how long their synergy gauge lasts, and how long their support gauge takes to charge. There's also a practice mode, and this is where you can test out different combos and learn the basics of Pokken Tournament. And when you're done with that, you can go into the single battle, which is where you can fight CPUs that don't affect the progress of your story mode. Pokken Tournament also offers a multiplayer mode, both for local and online. When playing locally, the first player is obligated to use the Wii U gamepad, while the second player uses the television. At first, I thought this was a really stupid rule, but the more I played the multiplayer mode, the more I realized it's actually a necessity. Having both players on a single screen, especially with the change between the 2D and the 3D camera perspective, it would just get really confusing. The two-screen experience in this case comes in handy, but also means that the Wii U has to render the game twice. The perspective of the first player on the Wii U, and the second player's perspective on the television. Sadly, this means that the game's 60 frames per second is dropped down to 30 frames per second, at least for the local multiplayer mode. Online, on the other hand, runs at 60 frames per second, and the netcode is fantastic. Every time I tried jumping into a match, I was usually within one in a matter of seconds. On the off occasion that it took a bit longer to find a player, I was given a CPU defense width while I waited. When online, you can play ranked matches. This has you play against another player online with the same ranking as you. There's also a friendly match option that allows you to set your match preferences and play with your friends as well as other people online. If you want to play with your friends though, you have to use a versus code. It's sort of like a friend code would work on a 3DS. I really wish Pokken Tournament would have adopted a friend system like Smash Brothers with hosting and joining rooms, but sadly it just reverts to the primitive friend code style multiplayer, and it really sucks. If you're into leaderboards and scoreboards, you can check your ranking with the point and win rankings for online matches. These can also be sorted by the total point and wins, the current month, or the last month. So overall, I had a blast with Pokken Tournament. I was one of the few people that thought the concept of a fighting Pokemon game sounded awesome, but was sort of intimidated by not actually being a hardcore fighting game player. Luckily, Pokken Tournament is made to be easily approachable by both the hardcore fighting game market and newcomers to the series. If you own a Wii U, I definitely think Pokken Tournament is worth investing into. I had a ton of fun with the game, it runs well, it looks beautiful, and overall it was a really fun experience. It's disappointing that Pokken Tournament still has to deal with the code exchange multiplayer system that many of us hate. It really should have been something like a simple host and join room feature, but sadly it isn't. Some people might also have a problem with the character roster size, but I personally thought 16 characters were just fine, and I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo and Namco added in more characters in the future through DLC. So that's my review of Pokken Tournament for the Nintendo Wii U. Hope you guys found it useful and enjoyable, and if you did, be sure to smash that like button to let me know that you enjoyed it. If you liked the video and you want to support the channel, please consider sharing it with your friends and family, and subscribe to be notified whenever I release a new video. Actually, the Friday that this game comes out, I'll be doing a live stream at 5 PM Pacific Standard Time, so if you want to play Pokken Tournament with me and a lot of people in the chat, come by on March 18th at 5 PM Pacific Standard Time, and I'll be happy to play with you guys. If you'd like to keep up to date with me off of YouTube, you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram. All those links are in the description below, and usually I'm offering updates on the channel and behind the scenes stuff on when I'm making videos. Thank you all for being some awesome viewers, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Later.